Welcome to our virtual tour of the River Tyne. The Tyne is located in the northwest of England and has a very large catchment of 2,900 kilometres squared. As you can see, it has been outlined in green on the map. The size of the river means it has to be managed effectively, as we have previously discussed in the slideshow. Throughout this tour, we will begin going downstream of the North Tyne, then downstream of the South Tyne, before they both converge to form the main body of the Tyne, and we follow it all the way to the estuary.
We start with the upper part of the catchment, which is mostly rural, containing the Northern Pennines, which is an area of natural beauty. We now move on to looking at upland damming.
This is the Catchment Reservoir. It provides water to hundreds of homes in Newcastle. Flowing from this reservoir is the River Redding, which is currently being managed by Policy 2, which involves soft engineering techniques, as this is an area of low to moderate flood risk.
Continuing with upland damming, we move on to the Kielder Reservoir, which is the largest reservoir in Europe. The Kielder Reservoir was constructed to slow down peak flows during flood events along the River North Tyne.
Afforestation occurred here in the 1940s in order to protect from flooding by increasing evapotranspiration. Continuing down the river, we reach the main Tyne, passing Falster and Bellingham.
Now we start our tour of the South Tyne, one of the other tributaries of the river. Similar to the North Tyne, this area contains steep valleys and small rural villages.
Port Whistle is an example of one of the typical villages here. New flood defences were built after the 2005 flood event, which resulted after heavy rainfall caused severe flooding and overnight flows. Policy 3 is being implemented in this area because new defences were installed after the 2005 flood, and they're projected to work effectively into the future along with climate change.
Briefly passing Hayden Bridge, we arrive at Hexham and Acombe. This area was heavily impacted by flooding in 1993, 94 and 2000, as the picture shows. Since this, flood improvements have been made to help protect the area from flooding. However, 280 properties are still at risk and need to increase in the future.
Additionally, £8 million has been invested in trash screens to trap debris to prevent channel blockages.
We now reach the main part of the Tyne. This area contains many small villages such as Corbridge, Riding Mill and many others. Riding Mill is an area where the Tyne River's Trust have carried out a management scheme to control the river without impacting on ecology. This has been done through tree management, which is designed to improve both flow and habitat in the area.
Historical flood defences were found in the area. Policy 3 is now being implemented, which shows the existing structures are sufficient and little needs to be changed.
Finally, the lower section. This is the most urban part of the catchment, containing large settlements such as Newcastle and Gateshead.
The channel has been modified throughout Newcastle in order to protect not only the large population, but also because it is the economic hub in the northeast. Throughout Newcastle, the banks of the river have been reinforced in order to protect the city through which it flows.
The blue outline shows the biker area. This area is at high risk from flooding. Monitoring of the flood risk here is essential, especially when considering the threat of climate change.
Contamination in this area has been the main problem. Lots of studies have been carried out, but more research is necessary in order to monitor this area effectively.
Finally, we move on to the port, which is historically famous for coal exports, although recently £100 million has been invested into the area in an attempt to improve navigation to try and attract more major vehicle manufacturers.
This concludes our tour. We want to enforce the importance of understanding the interactions between the water cycle, vegetation and evapotranspiration in order to effectively manage the river. Sustainability can only be achieved if these links are understood.